This is Skyler Weinand with Regan Capital. Here we'll be reviewing duration, convexity, and their relevance today. 1.37. So what is duration? I have a really brief explanation up here. Just a figure that defines the bond's sensitivity to interest rates. So a 5-year duration bond, a change in interest rates by 2%, rates go up or down by 2, and the bond moves in price by 10%. And I have that highlighted here in yellow, plus or minus 10%. And we can see here, I think 2%, no one's really thinking about a 2% move right now, but if we're thinking about a 1% move, if you have a 2-year duration portfolio, your price can go up or down by 2. If you have a 10-year duration portfolio, which is almost where the ag is and where corporates are right now, your price can go up or down by 10%. And so far, we've seen this year in investment grade corporates, prices are down by 3% thus far. But our thesis, or what we would assert right now, is that because rates are so low, our starting place is so low on interest rates that they can't go down 1%. And so what we do here is we input our current yields of 2-year, 5-year, and 10-year treasuries. We look at lower bounds of 0, 0.25, and 0.5%. That's really where we think rates could go, and that basically where they were last March. The 10-year briefly got down to about 0.35. And then we look at realistic upper bounds on 2s, 5s, and 10s, perhaps over the next 3 years. And so our upside is basically where we are versus where we could go. Your upside on 2s is 22 basis points, but your downside is 1.78. So we call that an asymmetry. All we're doing is we divide that 1.78 by 0.22. You have a negative asymmetrical return of about 8. So you have 1x upside, but you have 8x downside. And then when we get out to 10s, it's a lower asymmetry, but also greater downside. So your upside to getting back to 50 basis points on rates on the 10-year is 8.7%. Your downside of going out to 3 is about 16%. And we'll go through here just some simple bond math. We'll start with you owning a par bond with a 5% coupon. You get 5% return from your coupon. You get 0% return from getting your principal back. So if you get your principal back tomorrow or in 30 years from now, you're just getting your principal back. If you're invested in a municipal bond right now, a lot of municipal bonds are issued at a 5% coupon. I was looking at some California general obligation bonds earlier, and I was going to put them in this presentation, but I didn't really figure out what to put in. But those are priced at 130 right now. So $120 price bond with a 5% coupon, you're still getting that yield from your interest, which is like a 4.17. But eventually you're going to lose $20 when you get your principal back if that bond's priced at 120. So your yield to maturity is only 0.9%. If we go down to discounts here, we can see here we introduce what we would call our effective coupon, which is if you own that 5% coupon at 80 or at 40 cents on the dollar, your effective coupon goes up. And all we're doing in this scenario here is we're taking our 5% coupon and we're dividing it into our $40 purchase price. So we get a $12.50 purchase price. We have the potential to earn $60 if we were to get paid back at par for a total yield over 5 years of about 28%. And this is relevant when we talk about negative duration bonds, which we like to discuss, and we discussed last month, and that's a lot of what we've been buying. And the reason why these bonds are negative duration is due to the math when we introduce floating rate coupons. So if we own a par dollar bond that's paying LIBOR plus 1, your current coupon's 1.11. But if you own that bond at 40 cents on the dollar, your effective coupon shoots up. You take that 1.11 and you divide it by 0.4, 40%. So your effective coupon shoots up to 2.78. And where that's useful is if you own that bond and rates do shoot up 2%, your par dollar bond stays at the exact same level. It now has a coupon of 3.11, but your discounted bond has shot up 5%. So not 2%, but 5%. And so these lower dollar bonds that are floating rate, your effective coupon doesn't just go up by the rise in interest rates. It goes up by the rise in interest rates divided by your purchase price. So that's why we love these low dollar discounted bonds, and they show up as being a negative 10 or 20-year duration bond, because if rates go up 1% on a negative 10-year duration bond, the value goes up 10% on the bond. And with rates as low as they are, as we just talked about, we see that as being having a lot of asymmetric upside, i.e., 4x upside for maybe 1x downside if rates were to go back to last March levels. And I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on convexity, but what convexity means is that any bond that you own outside of treasuries is usually higher yielding, but it has these options embedded in them which decrease your yield if interest rates move. And or the deal gets called. In mortgage bonds, if you own a bond at a premium, you're worried about prepayments. So I did a quick search on Bloomberg for all corporates and municipals that trade above par. 86% of the universe of corporates and municipal bonds trade above par right now. And down here is just an illustration of the red being the treasury yield curve, just a very simple curve I made here, and the green being a sample corporate or municipal bond. Where you're buying this, you're hoping that nothing changes really, and that you own this at an extra 75 to 100 basis points versus treasuries. But if interest rates move in one direction or the other, your forward-looking returns are always downward sloping. So negative convexity means it's mostly downside if things were to change from here. So why do we like these non-agency discounted bonds? A, they really flip the switch on the rest of a fixed income portfolio. Negative duration can create positive asymmetry versus most of fixed income being negative asymmetry with everything trading above par. B, discounted dollar price bonds create a tremendous amount of upside to stronger housing. Prepayments, refinancing, et cetera, as housing prices went up 9% last year, just think about how much more valuable home equity is if someone's 4x levered or they have a 75 LTV. And then C, floating rate securities, especially those that we own at a discount, present a tremendous amount of upside to higher rates and a steeper interest rate curve.